So let's see here. Here's another question. Now this is a really interesting one. This is very, very unusual. She says, I had a patient where I surrogate tested because she was untestable, just in the described manner by putting my hand on her shoulder and doing the sway test next to her. We continuously were able to release inherited trapped emotions one after another. We went home and we both experienced something I believe is best described as a horror trip. We both felt awful. I even thought I would not be able to cope when getting up from bed the next morning. My husband saw me trying to survive the feelings of severe weakness that continued until midday, and I thought I might need medical help, all extremely foreign to me. Next week's group session, my client or patient started moaning about exactly the same symptoms, exactly the description and time span to resolve, and I wondered. I asked myself how this could have happened, and I cannot find an answer except that I might have been too tired, and even I did no proxy testing. I was in her energy field when going home, and thus suffered from the same processing after the release of the trapped emotions like the patient. I asked myself via muscle testing, and I got the answer that it has been her processing causing those symptoms. The worst processing I was told of, by the way. Okay, now this is a really, really, really rare thing. In fact, I don't think I've ever heard of anybody having this kind of thing before. It's kind of a shared processing that happened. Now, I asked about this as well, and I did some testing, okay? And you were definitely sharing her processing. Now, why did this happen? Well, the answer that I get is that for whatever reason, this was actually God's will that you share in that processing with her. Now, why this is, I don't know. You know, I wonder if you had been testing her by proxy and had worked on her, would you have shared that same kind of processing? Would you? And the answer I get there is no. So that's an argument, I suppose, that you could make for working on people remotely. So very interesting. But that's what I got, was that it happened how God willed it to happen. So so her question is, do I have to release myself from the energy field of the person I only do surrogate testing on? I know I have to get into and out of the energy field when doing proxy testing. Well, another thing that you might want to think about, of course, is making sure that you're shielded, okay? And if you are kind of more fatigued and tired and so on, then you are definitely more likely, I would think, to experience something like this. So very, very unusual, very interesting. Okay. Now here's some questions from Carrie Walker.